What's up, guys? Welcome back to Relationships, Romance, and Propaganda Podcast. I'm here with the beautiful Rachel Burke as usual. Say hi, Rach.
Hi,
Rach. My birthday just passed, Valentine's Day. So, I'm fresh off of a weekend of too much drinking, Rach, and too much food. Hit the gym this morning and paid for it, though. The workout was so hard. Anyway, I'm a film director. Rachel is an actress, author. These are her books, Love Bites and Sound Bites, a rock and roll love story. You can pick these up, Google them. You'll find out where they are available. Oh, man. We're a podcast about love, sex, relationships, marriage, everything. We keep it uncut, raw. Don't forget to subscribe on ISNT Group Digital on YouTube. RP Talk Truth at Gmail is the Gmail. If you want to ask us a question. And if you are joining us for the first time, listen in, have some fun. Maybe it's something you can relate to. And what are we talking about today, Rach? Dating people with kids. Yeah, dating people with kids. And I can relate to that because I have a kid.
Right. And I also want to hear from Imani's perspective, dating when you have a kid.
Yeah. Before we get on the show, though, what did you do for Valentine's weekend? A beautiful girl like you. I know you were cuddled up, snuggled with somebody.
No.
No, not at all.
No, I avoid the masses.
Serious?
I had a guy ask me to go on a date with him on Hinge, but his line was, but I live in Orange County, so you have to compromise on location. I was like, fuck you.
What?
Sorry, we're not promoting this episode. I'm going to be swearing a lot because I'm a little angry about a lot of things that happened recently. But sorry, buddy, I compromised for the past 5 years when I was with my ex who lived in Anaheim Hills. No.
Especially on that weekend.
Right. And I don't even know you.
Right.
Like, no. There's going to be I'm not compromising anymore.
That's so funny.
No, I honestly like to not go out because I feel like it's just so many people out. Mm-hmm. There's lines, like in LA, like here it's probably different, but in LA it's just there's lines everywhere. And you know what I did on Valentine's Day? I got a hot tub delivered, and I had an electrician come over. And because I didn't realize when I ordered it that you need your own electrical outlet. I thought it could just be plugged into one that shares. You don't. So it cost me a lot of money. But I was basically at my home all weekend with an electrician.
Check you out.
Setting my hot tub up.
So you got the new hot tub installed. Mm-hmm. Well, for me, it was my birthday, as I said. And it's always pressure because it's my birthday. Oh, it's his birthday and he's single or not or whatever, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm single. It's my birthday, and which I've done before because I've been doing this for quite some years. Right, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And it was no big deal. Some friends took me out on Thursday night to one of my favorite clubs in OC and had a great time, drinks and a little dancing. And then my actual birthday, I just chilled out. A buddy of mine got engaged to his girlfriend. Cool. So I went to that and just hung out with them a little bit. And and then the day after that, just hung out with more friends. Friends cooked some dinner. Just chilled out. I didn't do anything.
Yeah,
didn't get romantic with nobody. No one to get romantic with. You know what I'm saying? It's like.
I honestly, to me, it's just another day.
Yeah.
I don't really, I don't think of it as like, oh, I have to go find someone to go out with. Like
that's what a lot of people think, though, because
I know.
it's Valentine's Day.
No, I think that's silly.
Yeah. One thing I do have to say before we get on today's topic is that I think it's interesting because a lady friend I was talking to, she was going on a date or whatever, and she told me, it's the one holiday that I think is silly. So I said, well, why isn't Christmas and Thanksgiving silly? Christmas is just made to give gifts. Thanksgiving is just...
Because it has a historical meaning to it.
Right. It's just made for the families get together. But Valentine's Day was supposed to be just a day of romance.
But actually, Valentine's comes from Saint Valentine.
I know.
So
the whole story.
It does have a historical meaning too. Yeah. So I guess
so I was like... I said, I look at all of them the same. But there's this stigma on Valentine's Day because there's all this pressure to be romantic. So that's why people shun it so much.
You know, it's funny. And it's so funny how much I've changed in the past 5 years. Yeah. Because when I first met my ex, and it was our first Valentine's Day, right? So this was 6 years ago.
Yeah.
And I remember being so, that actually goes into what we're going to talk about today. I remember being so upset because he had his kids on Valentine's Day. And didn't apologize for it. Like, he wasn't like, I'm sorry, I can't spend the day with you. I have my kids. Let's do something another day. Right. He was just like, oh, yeah, I have my kids Tuesday. And I was like, oh, on Valentine's Day? So, we can't do anything? And he was like, no, I have my kids that day. Like no apology, nothing.
Oh my goodness.
And I remember I was so upset that it wasn't just that he had his kids, and this is what I'm going to get into today. It's how you approach that. It's like if he was like, I'm so sorry, I have my kids. Let me take you to dinner tomorrow night when I don't have them.
Exactly.
Make it up to you, right?
Yeah,
Belated Valentine's Day or an early one.
Yeah.
Didn't do any of that. Didn't even mention it. And I was so upset that he was coming to my house, I think the night before Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
And he was super late too. Like, didn't even make an effort to try to get there on time. So I went to bed. I was pissed. So I went to bed and I'm laying in my bed and he gets there and he shows up with flowers. By that point I was just like, thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks for rolling in at the 11th hour with flowers and not mentioning anything, But at the time, and I remember my stepmom said this to me, she said, that's your first Valentine's Day together. It's not going to get any better than that, right?
That's
like if
true.
He's not making an effort now, he's never going
true.
to.
That's a good point.
Yeah. So this is what I want to talk to about today because I just dated another guy with kids and I'm realizing I don't think I can date guys with kids anymore because I am never a priority unless they have a different approach where they can also make me a priority along with.
Yeah, I was going to say, if it's the right
kids.
guy, he'll make it a priority and do it the right way.
You would think. Yeah.
Yeah. I know for me, that's how I've always done it, and I have a kid.
And my ex in Boston, too, and he was an Aquarius.
Right.
He had a 3-year-old that lived with us part of the time.
Right.
He always put me first.
That's what I'm saying.
Always. Like, if I wanted to do a trip, he would say, okay, I'll see if my ex will take him. If not, my parents can. It was a little different, I think, because we lived in our hometown. His family was there, so his parents could take the kid. Whereas, if you live maybe like out here, my ex had no family here. So it's like if his ex-wife couldn't take them, it was just like, sorry, we can't go. So I think that can play a factor. But I'm going to tell you what happened with the guy in Connecticut.
Okay, yeah.
And I'm going to get your opinion on this. So
Does he have kids or no?
Oh, yes. This was the whole thing.
Okay.
Oh my God.
So before we get started, I want to let the audience know I had the flu like a month and a half ago, I think now, but it takes another
it takes a
month
long
for
time.
that little bitty cough to go away. And I still have this silly cough. So pardon me. That's what you'll hear me doing every now and then. Sorry, Rachel, go.
No, that's okay. So, last time, the last few episodes, I talked about this guy that
you were going to go see. The
Right.
one that was calling and stuff that day, right? When we were shooting the last show.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So, my dad, he lives near my dad in Connecticut. My dad hit me up and he said, hey, we're going to have a going away party. For my sister just moved to Europe. So he goes, and it was my dad's also an Aquarius. So he said, let's have a birthday thing for me. We'll have a going away party for my sister. Cause I was like, great. I just started dating a guy there. I'd love to go see him.
Yeah.
So I booked a ticket.
It'll work out. Yeah.
Yep. So I told the guy and he said, okay. He said, I have my son Tuesday, Thursday. So here's what we're going to do. I'll be back Sunday by like noon. We can have all day Sunday. He said he owns a company. So he said, Monday, it was what was last Martin Luther King Day? Yeah. So he said Monday's holiday, so I can take most of the day off. Wednesday, I blocked off my calendar from 4 on. We'll have all night. I was like, great. So then he calls me a few days before I go there. And he says, hey, so my uncle wants to meet with me while he was up in Maine for the weekend. He wants to meet with me about helping him with his retirement. So can we do Sunday night instead? Like, I'll just be back a few hours later. I was like, yeah, that's fine. Thinking we still have Monday, Wednesday. It's okay. Yeah. So we meet up Sunday night. And from date number 1, I said 2 things that he asked me. 1, I do not want children. And I was like, are you okay with not having any more kids? Because he has a 6-year-old son. Yeah.
He just has the one? Okay.
He said, yeah, I'm fine. I have my son. I'm fine either way. Second thing, I had said, I'm open to like a bi-coastal life, right? Being here part of the time, being on the East Coast part of the time. I'm there a lot. And he was like, yeah, I'm fine with that because I have a company and a son. I'm really busy. Perfect. So night number 1, we go out and he asks me again, like, oh, so you don't want kids? Like, you're just so sweet. And I'm like, no, we already talked about this. And then he asked me again, like, so would you ever move back here? And I'm like, we already talked about this too.
That too, yeah.
So I'm like, so I was like, I think maybe he wasn't honest about
what he wants.
What he wanted.
Yeah.
So, but so I started to have like a funny feeling, because I think like I was really excited about this guy and everything was lining up
it was
so
obvious.
well.
Yeah.
So I started to get a funny feeling, but whatever. We had a fine night, and I stayed over. The next morning, I get back to my dad's, and he calls me immediately, and he says, "Hey, I can't do Wednesday." Like, no apology. "Hey, I can't do Wednesday. My ex got called into work, and I got to take my son."
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, okay, I just flew across the country, spent all this money on a flight and a rental car, drove there in a snowstorm.
Yeah.
Like, if you have your son Tuesday, Thursdays, why can't you swap Wednesday for Tuesday? Right? And this is the problem with dating people with kids is you can't say that, right? It's like, oh, I have no right to be mad because it's your kid.
Right.
But there was...
I'm going to tell you what they do. I'm going to make a note. Mm-hmm.
But there was no apology and no compromise. It wasn't like, I have to take him Wednesday, so I'm going to see if she could... Even if she couldn't take him Tuesday, or he didn't want to for whatever reason... At least say that to me.
Right.
Just be like, you know what? And she can't take him Tuesday either, so I'm going to have both. You know what I mean? Right. There was no apology, no compromise. And I was like, okay. I said,
so you saw him Monday.
I saw him Sunday.
And you guys were supposed to meet up again Wednesday.
Monday and Wednesday. We were supposed to have 3 days.
And he canceled Monday.
No, he called me Monday and he canceled Wednesday.
Okay.
And he was like, oh, but I can still do tonight, though. And I'm like, oh, great. So I get 2 nights with you and I just spent all this money and flew here. You know what I mean? It's like I at least wanted 3 nights. And we planned out like the days, the time.
Absolutely.
Everything.
Absolutely.
So, of course, I'm mad.
Right,
of course. And it's like I can't, and I feel like I can't express the fact that I'm mad because it's your kid.
Nah, see, a lot of times that's the easiest, biggest excuse someone could easily use. And it sounds to me like it's an excuse. And
totally.
Yeah, thankfully, I've never used my kid as an excuse. But that's only because I've never had to. I'm not saying I wouldn't have if I needed to, but I was never in a situation that I need to use my kid as an excuse. And another reason why I never wanted to do that too, because I didn't want to place that karma on my kid.
Right.
I'm kind of a spiritual person. So,
well, what's so funny you say that? The next morning, his son broke his foot and he had to go to the hospital.
See?
I didn't even think of that.
Yeah, I don't like putting karma on my kid.
That used to happen to me when I'd call into work. If I said I have to go to the dentist and I lied, I'd crack a tooth that day. I swear to God. That would always happen. Or if I said I was sick, I would get sick.
Yep. So that's why I never used my kid as an excuse.
Do you think he was starting to have doubts and just pulled out for Wednesday?
I think he was using the kid as an excuse. Yeah. And that's the one excuse that that no one can say anything about.
Right.
So it's an easy card to pull.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And he used the kid when he broke things off too. So we get together Monday and I'm pissed. I can't help it. I was like, I flew all this way. We've been talking every day for over a month now. Yeah. Like now I've invested a lot of time in you. In money and travel and time. Of course, right? Yeah. So I show up at his house Monday night and I'm not in a good mood. Like, I'm not going to lie. I'm trying to.
You're trying to switch the energy around.
I even took like half his Annex because I was really trying to be like, okay, this is our last night of the trip. Don't be a bitch.
Yeah.
So I show up and he's like, and he can tell I'm in a mood. And I was like, I go, I'm sorry, but I can't help but be disappointed. I thought we were going to have another night. This and that. The first thing he says to me is, we get in the car and he goes, so, obviously he could tell I'm visibly upset. Yeah. He goes, so mornings are like our time too, because he goes to bed earlier than me, so we can have some morning sex, come up for a couple hours. He says, so, do you mind if I go to the gym in the morning? I go, what does that mean? He goes, oh, you'd have to leave at like 6 a.m.
Oh my God.
Fucking fuck you.
So this was Tuesday morning.
This was Monday night. We were on our way to dinner.
Right, but it would have been Tuesday morning.
Right. The only time we have. So not only did you take away half of Sunday and all of Wednesday, now you're going to take away my Tuesday morning too? Oh no. Yeah. Hell no. I said, no, I'm not doing that. I just won't stay over. Yeah. He was like, oh no, I don't want that. It's fine. I just won't go. But I'm like, and at that moment I was like, this is not going to work. I mentally checked out because I was like, not only is he putting his, if you're going to put your kid before me, fine. You're not going to put the fucking gym before me. Right. Absolutely. Right. You can go to the gym any day.
But even the kid thing is on a level playing field. If you look at like the 8, dynamics of life from Africa or whatever, the second one is relationship, wife, girlfriend, and your kids. They're all in the same group.
Right.
So your kid is as important as your relationship.
Right.
I wouldn't say it's more important. I would say they stand side by side.
Absolutely.
That's the way I've always
That's
done
what it should be.
And
this is what I've learned is I can't date the super dads that are like, you're never going to come before my kids.
Nah, I'm not.
Because it's like, okay, I don't need to come before them, but it should be equal.
It should be on a level playing field.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So we go out to dinner, and I swear to God, he spends half the time at the bar. We sat at the bar because he like knew the bartender or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
He spends half the time talking to this drunk guy next to him and ignoring me. And I was like, is he kidding me right now? And finally I was like, are you on a date with him? Like, what's up?
That's so strange.
So I finally like had a few drinks. We had a fine night, whatever. So in the morning,
Tuesday morning,
okay. He gets a phone call from his ex that his son kicked something and might have hurt his foot.
Mm-hmm.
So he goes, I got to go take him to the doctor. And I was like, okay. He goes, I'll call you later. And I said, okay. I just knew, like, when I got back to my dad's, I was like, yeah, guys, I don't think this is going to fly. And I told him a comment about the gym and everything. So this guy texts me that night. And he says, I can't believe that you didn't ask about my son all day and how he was. Okay, I don't know your son. I'm still trying to get to know you. Still trying to get to know you, dude.
Right.
We've been on like 3 dates.
Right.
And I was like, oh, he's using this as an out.
Yeah.
And he was like, I just feel like if you don't want kids, then you're not going to want a child complicating your life. And this makes my blood boil because I'm so sensitive to this because my ex's family made comments to him because I didn't have kids when we went to Utah.
Right.
And this, it's like.
So it's a soft spot for you.
Yes. And it's like, guys, just because I don't want my own kids doesn't mean I hate kids.
Right, exactly.
It doesn't mean I'm like this child-hating monster.
Yeah.
And I was like, no. Oh, no. You're just not, like, you're using your kid as a way to dump me?
Yeah.
Like, it's just because you weren't honest with me.
Right.
And my stepmom said this. She goes, he's probably embarrassed because he wasn't honest with you from date one about what you really wanted.
Right.
He wasn't okay with you living in LA, even if it's part of the time. And he wasn't okay with not having more kids.
Because he probably wants to have another one.
So what I did is I went on Bumble because he had messaged me on Instagram initially. Like I didn't see him on Bumble. Mm-hmm. I went on Bumble. I put in his age range and the radius. His profile came up. It says clear as day. He wants more kids.
Are you serious?
I was like, you fucking liar. Lied to my face.
So why did he lie about the whole thing then?
By the time I found that, and this is the thing that bothered me too. And we can talk about this in our Yellow Flags episode.
Okay.
But he did all this through text.
Okay.
It's like, because I was like, we should probably have a conversation about this if you want to pick up the phone. Like, no, he wouldn't even pick up the phone and have a conversation with me about it. No. So I'm writing something down for our
That's
next
crazy.
episode. But like now I am so, like, I'm just so sensitive to it. And so what I did was like, my stepmom made a good point. She said, a lot of guys in their 40s are going to have kids, but she said, she said, you could date someone I think that has kids if the kids are older, right? And they have their own life. Because his son was 6, right? And when my ex and I started dating, his kids were like 8 and 9.
Right.
You're very involved in those
ages. Years,
yeah.
Yeah. But even then though, I mean, when my daughter was that age, I still dated successfully because there's 2 sides of it, right? There's the guy that has the kid, and then there's a guy that don't have the kid that dates a woman with kids.
Right.
And there's a guy that dates the woman with kids and he has kids.
Right.
And you know what I'm saying? And so there is a way to handle all of it successfully.
My friend always says people with kids should date people with kids because you understand each other.
Right. I mean, parenting is a culture that no one gets unless you're a parent.
And this is what I'm struggling with now because I'm like, I want to be a priority too.
Right.
Like I feel like I'm over here sticking my hand up. Like I matter too.
What I want to say is there is a limit. There's a line that you don't cross where, okay, you are a parent and the other person isn't. But there like is a fine line between, not letting that cross into your relationship. Because you can be with someone and they not be a parent and still successfully parent.
Totally. And
still respect the relationship and vice versa. I mean, I've always done it. It's never been an issue for me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm trying to say?
Right.
You can't use the parenting as an excuse at your convenience.
Right.
And that's where the problems come in.
Have you ever had a problem? I mean, I know your daughter's a teenager now, but maybe when she was younger with dating. Well, I know you told me the Aries used to get jealous of your daughter. I totally get that now.
Yeah, I had to put a restraining order against it because of my daughter.
Yeah. Oh, because of her. Okay.
Yeah.
But
I was doing the right thing. She just got jealous of my daughter's possible model career. And she wanted to be a model. And my daughter was like 7 or 8 or something. I'm like, why are you tripping?
I thought you meant she was jealous because of the attention you were giving your daughter.
No, because I've always handled that correctly.
Oh, okay.
She was just jealous of things happening for my daughter that she wanted to happen for her.
Okay.
And it got real strange.
That makes more sense.
And I knew I had to get out of there quick. Because I've always understood that's on level playing field. Like, I'll give you a perfect example with my ex for the holidays. We spent time with her family, and my daughter wanted me to spend time with her aunt, and her mom as well, and her little cousin. Okay. And I didn't allow my daughter to make me feel bad that I went to spend time with her family as well. Okay. We just split the time. We went to her sister's house first, spent time with them. Yeah. After opening gifts and stuff there, we went to my daughter's side and spent time with them.
Right. Compromise.
Because to me, both was equally important to me.
Right.
I wanted to be there for her and her family, but I also wanted to be there for my daughter. And she was real cool about doing both sides as well.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's how I've always done. There's no way I would have said, no, I'm not going to do that with you.
Right.
But I'm just going to go over here with Layla and that's it.
Yeah, because the guy got immediately defensive because he told me on date.
Yeah, he's full of it.
Right. Because he told me on date 1, he was like, I've had a problem dating because sometimes, girls want me to get a babysitter. And I'm like, no, it's my kid. So when he called me to cancel Wednesday, he was right. No kidding.
That's BS.
It's
that's
like
bullshit.
Super, but that's what my ex here wouldn't get a babysitter. Like, never. He would never want to get a babysitter. So this is what I've realized. I'm like, I can't date the super dads.
Right. Yeah. Because you can date the dads, but just don't date
the super dads.
The super dads.
Like their kid is their whole life.
Right.
So and so now this is what I'm trying to pick up on, these vibes. And it's so funny because he and my ex had like things in common. And it's so funny. After Connecticut guy, I was like, oh, my ex here actually wasn't so bad.
Yeah.
He would at least like trade nights with his ex. You know what I mean? To make time for me. But if a guy, or I guess maybe a woman too, but from my perspective, this guy's Facebook, Connecticut, every single picture, him and his son, him and his son, him and his son. It's like he has no life outside of his son. Yeah. And before we even met, we've been texting for months, and he would text me pictures of him and his son all the time. And it's like, I don't know your kid yet. Like, do you? What else do you do?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. One of those super dads with no other perspective.
My ex too. His Facebook is literally every picture is him and his kids. Yeah. Even now, he's married to a new woman. He doesn't have one profile picture of her and him. It's all him and his son.
Wow.
And so that's the stuff I look for now, like on dating profiles.
Right.
I updated my profile to say I don't want kids on every friggin' platform. Because I'm like, I'm putting that energy out there. I don't want fucking kids. Right. Okay? Not doing it.
You heard that, people? She doesn't want fucking kids.
No, don't want fucking kids. Like, and if you have kids, I better be a priority too. Okay?
Right, yeah. You have to put your lady on equal footing because we're all sexual beings. And that human connection is still important. So just because you have kids doesn't mean you don't want to be intimate, have that loved one, have them want to go to the movies. You still want that.
You know what they actually say? Yeah. And, you might disagree with me here, but they actually say you should put your partner first because if you don't, you get into, and this might be for, maybe if it's both of your kids, but you get into, well, mom said I could. Well, dad said I could. Right. And then it's like, you have to be a team.
Right.
So you have to put your partner first.
Of course.
And it's like, we both say this. Otherwise, it's like your kid's going to have a favorite.
That's how me and my daughter's mom do it. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, there's no favorites.
So it's almost like you have to put your partner first. Yeah. Otherwise, your kid can pit you against each other.
They sure
you know
can.
What I mean?
Yeah.
So, and the other thing I realized too is like, I don't like sharing my partner with a kid. If they're like the super dad. So I remember like when my ex and I went to Utah and we brought his kids, and now I understand this too when we did the episode about the love languages.
Okay.
And I said, well, when wouldn't you spend quality time together? And I realized afterwards, it's like, oh, when there's kids around, you're not spending quality time together because you're paying attention to the kids. Because I have friends who are struggling with this now. It's like they don't get alone time with their husband or wife because it's all about the kids. So I realized this in Utah. I swear to God, I cried myself to sleep one night because he had me sleep in a different room because his kid still slept with him. His kid was 8. I was like, wow. I think he's got to get his own bed.
Yeah. And was he sick or something?
No, he still slept with him when he was 8 years old. And my ex just loved his kids so much. He loved that. Yeah. But I was like, that's kind of creepy. Your kid's 8 years old.
Usually they leave around 6.
Yeah.
If you do the whole attachment parenting, which we talked about.
Right. Oh, my friend said thank you for that, by the way.
Oh, seriously?
Because she has 2 little ones and they sleep in her bed and she's been trying to figure out if that's the right thing or not.
Oh, it's definitely the right thing.
She was like, I'm so glad he talked about attachment parenting because she's trying to learn, so much.
Yeah. And they leave on their own, between 5 and 6. And so 8 is, I think, a bit much.
Understatement of the year.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. 8. I remember emailing my friend about it. He goes, 8 is ridiculous.
Yeah. My daughter and her mom still do that sometimes, but it's usually for a reason.
So
and my daughter is bigger than her mom now. She's not taller than Sunny, but she's bigger than Sunny.
Well, I will say I started sleeping with my mom again at 8, and it's only because I saw that movie Child's Play with Chucky the doll.
This is when something happened.
And I got so freaked out that I hated sleeping alone. Yeah. But no, it was weird.
It was for a reason, but yes.
But the whole time in Utah, I swear to God, I felt like he ignored me, and it was just all about the kids, and I got no attention, and I was like, you know what? I'm sick of this. I'm sick of having to share somebody with somebody else. Yeah. My next partner, I just want to be me and you, babe.
Yeah. Have you ever dated a normal dad though? Me?
My ex in Boston. His kid lived with us on the weekends. He always put me first.
Okay, cool.
We would take trips. He would have his, but like I said, it's because his family was there and they could help out a lot too. Mm-hmm. I don't know how that would have worked if the ex was like, no, I'm not taking him this weekend. Mm-hmm. It's your weekend. Yeah. But he, always made me a priority.
Yeah, that's how it should be. And sometimes your family will even try and make you feel guilty. This is for all the dads out there with kids that's dating someone without a kid. Sometimes your kid's family will try and make you feel guilty for going to do things with that significant other. My mom said that. But don't fall for that.
My mom actually just said that to me. She goes, I think these guys are these super dads because they feel guilty. Mm-hmm. They feel guilty because of the divorce, this and that. Mm-hmm. So they try to make up for it and be everything to their kids, but then you're neglecting your partner.
Yep. You have a right to have a life and have a partner and it's not neglecting your kid if you want to share a holiday with your significant other or whatever you have to do to make it work. There's nothing wrong with it at all.
Yeah.
And if anyone tells you different, they are lying. Don't fall for it.
I know. And also what I'm noticing too is that I can't do is not only if you're a super dad, if you're in a relationship with your dog.
With your dog?
It's a thing. I swear to God, it's a thing.
Oh my God.
So if a guy doesn't have pictures with kids, but he's in with his dog in every single picture,
something's wrong.
That thing's the kid.
Yeah, exactly.
You can't take a trip because who's going to watch the dog? Yep. He can't stay over. Who's going to watch the dog? So this is another thing I'm realizing because I had this guy who was messaging me on an app. So I just went back on the apps and this has been a nightmare. I forgot the whole reason I went off them in the first place is because no one wants to meet in person.
Right.
So this guy was with his dog in every single picture, and it's like a little foo-foo dog that he would put pink bow ties in her hair. And I was like, it's his daughter. That's literally his daughter.
It's his daughter.
It is. It's just as bad, if not worse.
Oh, it's worse. It's harder to take care of dogs.
Right.
It's harder than a kid.
They can't just go off on their own.
Yep, it's harder than a kid.
The guy messaged me.
You don't have to come home to let the kid use the bathroom. It's going to do it on its own with the babysitter.
Right.
You can't eat with dogs. Right. You can't do that.
No, I know.
Oh my God. Dogs are harder than kids.
This is what I'm doing now. Because now I'm crystal clear. I'm I am ready. I know what I want. I know what I don't want. And I'm crystal clear. And you know what secure people do, Imani? They tell you what they want. Exactly. They communicate it. And if you don't give it to them, they're out.
They're out, yeah.
So I said, this guy messaged me and I go, gonna be honest, dude, I don't love dogs.
Right.
And I said, I think you need to date someone who has dogs or loves dogs.
Right. That's so funny.
He goes, yeah, she's only 6, so I have a lot of time left with her. I was like, Jesus, I wasn't saying I hope your dog dies so we can date. That was a horrible thing to say.
Right.
But then the dude kept messaging me and like sending me pictures of himself on Instagram. I was like, buddy, no, I just told you I wasn't interested. Like, no thanks.
Right.
But guys, a dog can be just as bad as dating somebody with kids if that's not what you're looking for.
Worse. It's worse. Yeah, it's worse.
So
I mean, I've been out with women in the past, and they would say that, and I'm like, oh my god. Well, I would, go. We can go dance later, but I gotta let my dog out, and so on and so forth. Or I get a babysitter for the dog.
I have a friend who lives in Long Beach, and she always comes to concerts with me. But yeah, that's like her thing is she has a friend nearby that like will watch her dogs, but she has to make sure the friend can watch her dogs before we go. It's like, man, it's like children.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's worse. I'm telling you. I have a kid and I've had dogs. Dogs are harder to take care of than kids. Oh my God. Hands down. Yep.
So I decided to give this like older kids thing a try, right? Okay. Like, cause my stepmom, she doesn't have kids. This is the woman my dad just married a couple years ago. And so when I was there in Connecticut, I actually, I feel like it was kind of the first time she and I really connected because we both never wanted children. We both dated guys with children. She's been married like 3 times. Yeah. So she knew a lot. And she said, she said, this guy is probably so embarrassed because he was probably so enamored with you on your first date that he just said whatever you wanted to hear. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, sure, I'm okay with not having kids, whatever. Yeah. And she goes, now he's backpedaling and hoping that you change your mind. Mm-hmm. But she also said, B, I think, if you do decide to date someone who has kids, they need to be older and the kids have their own lives. Right. And, she said, I think that would work for you too. And she gave me some examples.
As long as they don't want any more kids.
Right.
You know what I mean?
But mostly when guys have teenage kids, they don't. They don't want to start over. Right. That's what I have found. Like I found if the kid's young, they definitely want to.
See me, I've always wanted more kids.
Okay. Yeah, you told me that.
Yeah. So when I met my ex, she wanted kids. I was like, perfect. Right. But I'm in a space where I can go either way. If I meet someone who says no more, I'm happy. Right. You want more, I'm happy. Because I've always wanted more, just never found the right person to do it with.
And it's made it so much easier, I think, especially with the apps. If I can get anyone to show up for a date one of these times. It's made it easier because it says on Bumble now, you can say wants kids, doesn't want kids, have kids and doesn't want more, or has and wants more. Right. So anytime a guy says they want kids, it makes it so much easier. I can just go left. They have them, they want more, left. Hinge is different. Hinge, you can actually say open to kids, which I think means they don't really want them. Right. Like if a guy's open to kids, that means like if you talk me into it, I'll have some kids. And I'm like, okay, good.
But don't count the guys out with younger kids. I mean, I have a 15-year-old, but don't count the guys out with younger kids either, because there's some out there who knows how to do it the right way, like I did when my daughter was younger. I'm not ruling it out,
but I'm ruling out the guys that say they want them or they want them.
Right, exactly.
Right,
that's what you don't want.
So this is what just happened to me yesterday. Okay. So the saga continues. Right. And the Connecticut guy too is still following me on Instagram and like watched all my shit, and I'm like, why? I unfollowed you immediately.
Mute him.
F you.
Mute him.
No, I unfollowed him.
Oh, okay. I got you. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. I was like, fine. You want to watch me? Great. I just hate seeing his ugly little face there every day. And it's like, you're such a jerk. So this guy messaged me. He actually was just visiting LA this week. He lives in Seattle, but he was like, he goes, I know I shouldn't have bumbled when I travel. I go, no, dude, I always bumble when I travel. Like, it's totally great. You can meet great people. And he goes, I know, like you just seem so pretty and fun and interesting. Like, I just would love to meet you while I'm in town. And he goes, I'm here till Tuesday. And I said, okay, yeah, let's do it. Like, when works for you? And he goes, all right, let's do Sunday night. I said, okay. Guys.
Sunday night yesterday.
Okay. Yeah.
Valentine's weekend still.
Oh my God. I'm not even thinking of that.
I know. I just had to say it. It's my birthday. So
guys, it takes me 2 hours to wash my hair, shave, have long legs.
Yeah. Get all this done up and
blow dry the hair, straighten it, curl it, put all the products in it. Then I got to do my makeup. Then I got to pick out an outfit. 2 hours minimum. If you cancel on me the day of, right before we're supposed to go out, you're a fucking asshole. Wow. This is the 3rd time this has happened to me this week. Wow. The day of. I'm like, hey, I'm ready. And they're like, yeah, I can't. I'm going to cancel. And I'm like,
crazy.
I just spent you just wasted 2 hours of my time.
That's crazy.
So this happened to me last week. The guy, the day of, He was like, hey, I had a really good first date last night, so I'm just gonna like see where that goes. And I was the guy had been texting me every single day. I'm like, no, it's not like a BS excuse.
Right.
The second guy, I don't even know. He's been asking me out since June. But he just didn't have like good pictures on Hinge. It's like his profile. I can't tell what you look like. And I just kept saying, and I was kind of mean to him. I go, you know what? I can't tell what you look like. So upload better pictures.
Right.
So I finally got back on all the apps. I saw him again. He'd uploaded better pictures. And I was like, oh, he's really cute. Okay. So I was like, hey, are you still on this? You still want to go out? And he was like, oh my God, yes, you're alive. He goes, when are you free this week? I said, I have plans Tuesday, Wednesday. He goes, let's do Thursday. Thursday comes around. I'm like, okay, I'm ready. He's like,
Ghost.
So sorry. Maybe we reschedule. I got stuck at work, this and that. And here's my thing with this too, with the last minute cancellation. If you cancel, but you propose another day to go out.
That's different.
It's different.
Right.
And I go, sure, let me know when works for you.
I don't even like canceling, but I'll do the other day to go out though.
Right.
I agree.
Then I'm not going to be pissed at you.
Right. I agree.
Right. If you cancel, but you say, you know what, I'm so sorry, I got to go to work. Let's do tomorrow instead.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be pissed at you. I go, sure, let me know when works for you. Never heard from him again. I was like, this dude's been stuck. Like, Imani, I'm not kidding. Like, I wouldn't even write back to him and he'd be like, hey, it's me again. Hey, it's me again. Just seeing if you want to grab a drink. Hey, gonna try one more time. I'm like, you've been stalking me for almost a year now and I finally say yes and you blow me off?
Right.
What the fucking fuck? So
that's crazy.
So now I'm schooling these guys. I'm like, listen, I've had 3 guys cancel on me this week. This is my one thing. If we make a date, you're not canceling.
Right.
I'm reliable. Are you reliable?
Right.
Okay. So this guy from Seattle hits me up that's in town. And I said, I was like, I go, you're from Seattle? I go, that's actually great because guys in LA, people in LA, I have friends who do it too.
Most of them.
Yeah. I said, they're very flaky. I'm from the East Coast. I'm very reliable. And I said, I just got on these apps and every date I've had, they cancel on me. And it's always the day of. And it's so frustrating. He was like, oh my God, I know. Like he goes, I will say like, I'm so reliable. I'm from Colorado, this, that, and the other thing. And so we set a date for yesterday. I never hear from him. The night before, and this is a red flag. Yeah. A little bit. I didn't know he had kids. But he said, you know, I have a 14-year-old son and an 11-year-old daughter. Well, because he sent me a picture of him and his daughter at the beach. I didn't realize he was with his kids either. Because he said he was visiting a friend. So I was like, oh, okay, he has kids, but they're older. I'll give him a chance. But it's like, why are you texting me pictures of you and your kid already? Right. That's what Connecticut guy would do too. And it's like, I don't know your kid. Right. I don't want to see pictures of you and your kid all day long. Like my profile clearly says, don't want kids. Right. I don't want to see pictures of you and your kids. Right. I don't know them. Once I know them, like once we're dating and I know your daughter, cool. Send me all the pictures you want. So I was just like, oh, cool. You know, what are you guys doing? Whatever. So never hear from him yesterday. So at like 5 o'clock last night, I go, all right, you know, I just got home. I'm ready. Let me know what time you want to meet up. Oh, Rachel, I'm so sorry. My daughter isn't feeling well. Your daughter's 11, dude. Yeah. Like, I'm pretty sure she can be fine on her own. Right. My daughter's not feeling well. And he goes, I realize now I'm being the flaky one. But I just don't want to leave her. But the thing is, Imani, same thing, right? He said he's here till Tuesday. We still have tonight. Right. He could have said, I'm so sorry, but can we do Monday? Right. And I was...
excuse. No, it sounds like to me that...
Right. What is going on?
It sounds like to me that they're swiping on these apps and they just meet other people.
Right.
And connect with them instead of you.
Right.
This one may look a little better. Right. Or have this or that. And to me, that's what it sounds like to me.
It's gotta
You know what I mean? Yeah, of course.
And then this one guy told me he was super intimidated by me after wasting like 2 hours of my Sunday. Yeah. He was at like an Oscars party. He clearly didn't want to be. He was messaging me for hours, and I was finally like, okay, this guy has not sent me his number, not set up a date or anything. And I was just like, you know, these apps kind of suck because everyone is very flaky.
They are.
No one wants to meet up. And he goes, well, they're probably scared of you. You sound like you're super intimidating. Because he's like, you know, what do you do? And I told him, I was like, I have a day job. You know, I do some commercials modeling. I have a podcast. And he was like, oh, God, super intimidating. I'm just a bartender. And I was like, I don't care. You're hot. Yeah. Then let's just go have some sex. All right? Like, I can't even get laid on these apps. You know what I mean? It's like,
there's no rhyme or reason out here, man. It's so funny.
No. know. And like, oh,
I've had women been intimidated by me too, and I'm like, I don't care about none of that. I swear.
I know.
Yep.
I don't care how much money you make.
Yep.
I own my own house. I'm cool.
Who cares?
Just like
That's
there's just
so
one thing I
funny.
can't do to myself, guys.
Right, exactly.
I mean, I can't, but you know,
but not with the physical
not
body
in the way I want.
Right, not the way you want.
Oh my!
I think that's so crazy that you have so much trouble.
It's insane to me because remember you said you were like, no, guy, intimidation's a real thing. So I was like, I thought it was like a BS line people made up.
No, it is a real thing.
This guy told me.
But I think in the age of swiping, you know, these people are just like we've talked about before. You know, instead of putting the work in and going to a bar or lounge or something, you can just sit there and swipe 50 people in 1 minute.
But I'm like, this 50-year-old dad from Seattle found someone better than me,
and it's like you're number 10 of 20 that he's messaging, and you just wasn't the lucky pick. I'm telling you, that's all it is.
But it's like, if we have Sunday set her up for Monday. You know what I mean?
I'm agreeing with you. I'm just telling you what these idiots, I think, are actually doing.
But this guy was 50 years old and a dad. It's like, I feel like not a lot of girls have their age range set up that high.
Yeah, that's true.
It's
that's
like,
true
who are you finding that's better than me? I don't know.
Yeah.
Something's up. I know. So I'm even open to like the something casual guys, right? Yeah. The guys that are like, they don't even need a relationship, just something casual. I was like, yeah, sure, anything. Just someone come fuck me, please. Like, honest to God, like anybody. Is there anybody out there? Yeah. So this guy, he's cute. He's like 32. He's a little younger, and he said he was looking for something casual. No kids. Mm-hmm. I was like, sure, yep. Anything at this point, just someone show up, please. Okay.
They have it on the app, something casual on Bumble.
On Bumble, so that's you can say what you're looking for, and it says relationship, not sure, something casual.
Okay, interesting. I didn't know that. Okay.
So they're just looking for a booty call, whatever. I'm like, I don't want kids, so I don't have a timeline here. If you want, I'll take a booty call. Just show up, please.
Somebody,
anybody with a pulse. So he, so this guy, So remember how we said, what did you say? Scorpios, they so freaky.
Yeah, Scorpios.
So they're like very sexual.
Freakiest in the zodiac. Yep.
So he was a Scorpio, and I was like, sure, yeah, whatever, something casual, perfect.
Yeah.
So he was like, I just want to make it clear, like, I'm not looking for a one night stand. I want to start out as something casual. I want a woman who's comfortable sexually with her body, who's confident, like see where it goes. And I was like, yeah. Totally.
Perfect. Yeah.
Sure.
Perfect.
Sign me up.
Oh my God, Rachel is hilarious.
Oh my God. So
sign me up.
Then he starts getting weird, and he's like, "So what's your body type like?" And I have a photo of myself in a bikini on my Bumble page.
Oh, good. Yeah.
You know what my body looks like. There's literally a head to toe photo.
Good.
Right?
That's how people supposed to do it.
Right. Yeah. I'm not fat. Okay. So at that point, what I thought is I was like, I wonder if he is catfishing me, because you know how like guys will want to talk sexy, and then they want to then they want you to send them sexy pictures, and it's not them. Oh. So I stopped writing to him because I was like, oh, you know what? He might be catfishing me. Mm-hmm. I also had matched with him on Hinge, so he deletes his Bumble because he got off it, and then all of a sudden on Hinge he messages me and he goes, "Hey Rachel, if you're still up for something casual,
that's strange.
Let's talk on the phone."
Switching from Bumble to Hinge, that's kind of strange.
I think he was going through all the girls.
Yeah.
And he was probably like, oh, she was open. All right.
Yeah.
So he tried one last time. And I was like, yeah, okay. So he goes, let's have a phone conversation. I go, okay. I'm a voice person. Mm-hmm. The second he said hello, I was like, oh, yeah. You
melted.
Oh, he had the sexiest voice and a New York accent. Yeah. And he was a musician too. And he was from New York. And I was like, oh, okay, he's not catfishing me. I could tell from the voice. I was like, oh my God, no, he's really sexy. Mm-hmm. But I felt like I was being interviewed. He was like, because, he's like, I went out with this girl who just didn't look like her pictures. And then another girl who was just too young. So I upped my age range. I feel like, I think I need an older woman who's confident. I was like, so like, what are you looking for? And what are you not looking for? Mm-hmm. And he said, I love to like exchange pictures before a date because there's something sexy about when a girl shows up and you've already seen her naked.
Oh my God.
And I was like, okay, I think this guy might be a little too freaky for me, but I just loved his voice. I was like, I'm just going to say yes to whatever you're saying right now.
Okay.
Just see if he'll actually show up in person. So I was like, oh, okay. I said, I'm going to be honest. I haven't done a whole lot of the whole sexting thing. I said, because there's catfishing going on. And he was like, really? And I go, oh, yeah. And I told him all about it. And so he's like, this girl wanted to see a picture of my cock. And he's like, I want a woman who's like comfortable. We don't have to have sex right away, but like if she's comfortable giving a blowjob on her first date. And I was like, okay. I was like, I slept with my ex on our first night I met him. I said, I'm like, but I kind of feel like he was overthinking it, right?
Yeah,
it's like
why say all this?
Why are you pre-screening
Women
me
don't want
now?
to be involved in their own seduction, guys. Remember that.
Right.
Yeah.
It was like, if it happens, it's going to happen organically. I felt like I was being phone interviewed. And I was like, listen, dude, I'm very sexual. Like, oh, and another thing too, he was like, I want a woman who's like comfortable in her body. I was like, listen, I'm sexual. I'm comfortable in my own body. I'm confident. Totally fine with this. And he's like, okay, great. Like, sounds like we're on the same page. So let's like keep in touch. That's how he ended it. Let's keep in touch. And I was like, oh, because I'm one of his, I felt like I was one of his phone screens that he had that week. Like, cause he goes, I just got off all the apps. So yeah, he like narrowed it down, I think, to a couple girls he's going to like talk to.
And
I was like,
make a decision.
I can't even get a something casual guy. I can't even get a booty
You got
call.
to be kidding me.
Unbelievable.
This stuff is all news to me, guys. I learned a lot from this show.
I was like, this is why I went off the apps.
It's great to hear the stories from the female perspective, guys, like out there, because men that I know wouldn't think this is going on with a woman like you.
I wouldn't think it was going on with a woman like
any
and I
of
have
my
great pictures. Like I have
any of my
pictures.
friends, white, black, or indifferent, would come hang out with you in a second. No ifs, ands, or buts about
it's insane to me.
You know what I'm saying?
I can't even get a guy to fuck me, let alone take me on a date. Like,
that's so strange for me to
guys,
hear.
what is going on?
Yeah, I think these dudes are just scared and just. I don't know. It's hard for me to believe what you're saying right now.
I don't know. It's so crazy. But and another guy too. I was going to say this. I've figured out something this week that people who catfish, they always say they're pilots. That's why they're always in a different location.
Oh, they try and do that.
Because that happened to me once before. And so last week, a guy hit me up, and he was supposedly a pilot from America, and it said his location. He was in Florida. And he immedially launched into like, oh, you're really sexy, because they want, I think they want pictures from you, right? They wanted something to jerk off to. And I said, why are you in Florida? Oh, no, I said, where do you live? He goes, Cali. No one that lives in California calls it Cali.
Right.
People in other states, because when I go to Boston, they're like, how's Cali?
Right.
People who live in LA call it LA.
Call it LA.
And I go,
we don't say Cali.
And I was like, what part of Cali? And I was like, I think you're a catfisher. And then he deleted me right away.
Yeah, see?
Called him out.
Bust them out. Yeah.
Busted him out.
Yeah, like a while ago when I was on the apps, when I first broke up with Anna, another telltale sign too is when they text you from a landline.
I didn't even think you could do that.
Yeah, so they'll text you and unknown comes up and you have to actually press it to see the number.
Oh, wow. Then
if you do reverse look up the number, it's a landline. So some kind of way they have it connected that they can text, but it's a landline.
Oh.
You know what I'm saying?
Interesting.
They real slick with it. You know what I'm saying? They slick with it. And as soon as you bust them out, they disappear. You know what I'm saying? It's like I said.
That's what I did with this guy.
Yeah. They disappear. I'm like you. I mean, I really got sick of it. You know, back then I just got off of it.
And I forgot about, it's just like I'm at this point where I'm like, you know what? I just feel like I'm ready and I'm not meeting the people that I want to meet. Because truthfully, my girlfriends on the West Side, it's like they go to the same places and it's like not my type, not my vibe. Like I want someone who has some creativity to them. And my girlfriends that would go to concerts with me and like go to the Sunset Strip and stuff like that, like they moved. Both of them moved to Seattle. And I feel like I have no girlfriends. I have one, but she's in Long Beach, so she doesn't come up a lot. So it's like, I feel like I don't have a lot of girlfriends to be like my creative wing lady, you know? So I was like, I'm going to go back on it. Just see if, you know, I can stir up something. And now I'm like, oh my God, I'm turning into my angry friends. Cause like my friends that have been doing the apps for a long time, they get jaded and they get discouraged and they're anxious and they're angry. And
what about just going out to meet guys like what we talked about?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like I don't have girlfriends
that you can go out with. Yeah, that's what you're saying.
It's like I do, but they're not into the same type as me. They don't want to go to the dive bars and Sunset and pick up a guy with tattoos. You know what I mean? Like that's what I want to do. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, obviously I do that when I go out also. But, I was like, I just want to like someone now, even if it's just to hook up, and I can't even get anyone to show up. Yeah. So what I'm doing now when guys message me is I'm like, listen, this is what I'm looking for. Mm-hmm. And I'm just honest with them. Like, cause one guy today goes, what are you hoping to get out of these apps? And I said, someone to actually show up for the date. Right. I said, I just got on them. I have made 3 dates and they all canceled the day of. And I said, it's really frustrating because it's not respectful of my time. Yeah. He has not written back. Yeah. See, I was like, well, so
he was probably on the same thing.
I'll rule him out. Like
he was probably on the same thing. I'm just going to be so open,
I think, with what I want. Like no kids, no dogs.
Yeah. I mean,
open to if you have kids, if you can still make me a priority.
Right. That's what I was about to say. Dating a guy with kids is not a problem. I mean, I've dated even women with kids and it's never really been a problem.
Have you ever had you've never had like an issue with a girl where like you had to cancel plans because of your daughter or anything like that? Mm-mm. That's good.
Never. Because I would get a babysitter when she was younger.
Okay.
And
and
she's older now. Yeah, and you know what's funny? Sometimes I would feel like somewhat guilty, but on the other end, I would be like, Imani, something wrong with it, because I wasn't leaving when she was still up. I would put her to bed, right. Then I would go on the date, and the babysitter would be there, so she wouldn't miss anything, and I would be back before she even woke up, so she wouldn't even know that I was gone.
Totally.
See what I'm saying? Yeah. So I've never not done it in the correct way.
Yeah, and this guy's daughter was almost 12 last night. It's like, I'm pretty sure she can stay at home by herself.
I've never not done it the correct way.
And if she needs him, he can go out for a drink. Like, he literally was staying right near me in Venice. It's like, you can leave for one drink, and if she needs it, she can shoot you a text, and you can leave.
Yeah, and what's funny, so for me, I have my daughter every other weekend. So typically, since I only have 2 weekends a month, I try not to do things when I have her.
Yeah.
Because to me, that's kind of say like, hey, you have all the other time to do things when you don't have her. But even if let's say I met someone new and she just had to go out that weekend that I had Layla, I would make sure I told her that it's going to be after, dinner is done and she's going into bed. My daughter is a teenager.
Right.
So I would make sure that our time is done.
Yes.
I don't want her to feel neglected either.
Totally.
So I would make sure dinner was done and she'd be like, all right, Dad, I'm going in. I said, okay, I'm going to go grab a drink with someone.
Right.
That's how I would do it. So it didn't take away from our time at all.
Absolutely.
See what I'm saying?
Yes.
But I typically try to plan at the weekends I don't have her.
Yeah.
But again, if there's an emergency and it's a must meet, I'll do it as she's going in the room, which is between like 8 or 9. I'll say, hey, let's do 9.
Yeah.
Because I know by then she'll be in the room.
Right.
FaceTime with her friends. And it's all good. She's not tripping.
Yeah. This was so informative today. So I learned 2 things. A, they're using their kids as an excuse to get out of the date.
Absolutely.
Which I think that's why I was so angry, because I think I suspected that.
You suspected that, yeah.
But I'm like, it's so refreshing to hear that.
Yeah.
And B, you can date someone with kids if they still make you a priority.
Yeah.
So I'm like looking out for the red flags, and one of them, like the big one, is if a guy, either his social media or his like Bumble profile, like Connecticut guys, his Bumble profile, when I saw it, it's all him and his kid, every picture. But no.
Yeah.
And like, if I'm going to date dad, I'm going to be deadbeat dad, okay? You better have no pictures of your kid. No, I'm just kidding.
And you know what? If you date someone like that, maybe you have kids too, and you're the same. And, and maybe you guys just do play dates together.
Totally. My ex did that before me.
That's a solution.
Yeah.
If you're like that with your kids too, you guys just set up a big play date.
Right. If somebody doesn't want kids, it doesn't mean that they hate children. Like, I'm not a child-hating monster.
Right.
It's just like, I'm independent and I want to get up and go when I want to get up and go.
Exactly.
It's like, that's a decision I made, and I don't want anyone making me feel bad for it.
Yep. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's my takeaway.
That's our take on it.
Yes.
Anyway, guys.
Thank you for the therapy session.
No, I love it. That's one reason why I love this show.
I was his therapist last week.
Like you said, last month you were the therapist, which helped amazingly, by the way. Yeah, so thank you for that. Yeah. And so it's a Relationships, Romance, and Propaganda podcast. Don't forget to subscribe on ISENT Group Digital. Don't forget to follow us on social media. We're exposing the truth and broadcasting the lies every week. This time we expose a lot of truth about the kids and broadcast the lies about the excuses the dads make. That's what we did today.
Liars.
You know what I'm saying? We're the sexiest relationship podcast on the planet. I always say that. And it's rptalktruth@gmail.com. We'll see you guys next week. Happy belated Valentine's Day to everybody. And if you had a birthday like I did, happy belated birthday. Hope you guys had a great weekend with that special someone. And if not, hey, there's always next year.
It's just another day.
You got a year to figure it out.
Day.
You got a year to figure it out. We'll see you guys next week. Peace.
Bye.